In today's video, I will show you the best way to dual boot Void Linux with Windows 11 or Windows 10. Now, this method makes it very easy to install Void Linux with Plasma Desktop alongside Windows 11 on the same drive. This is the safest way to set up a dual boot on any computer without risking any data loss. However, it's strongly recommended to back up important files to the cloud or external media. At the end of this video, I will also show you how to safely remove Void Linux from the dual boot. Now, be sure to watch the video until the end to avoid any confusion. Now, check the description below for valuable information, timestamps, and download links. The only requirements of this video, you need Windows 11 or Windows 10 installed on your PC or laptop, an 8 gigs or higher USB drive to create a bootable disk with Void Linux, at least 50 GB of free space reserved from your existing drive. If you are using Windows 11 Professional, disable BitLocker encryption before proceeding. BitLocker can interfere with Linux installations since Linux doesn't support BitLocker encrypted drives. For Windows 11 home users, this feature is permanently disabled, so you can skip this step. Before installing Void Linux, it's recommended to create a system restore point on your Windows computer. Now go ahead and search for Create Restore Point in the Start menu and open it. This tool allows you to take a snapshot of the current system state. If something goes wrong with the Void installation, you can use this backup to restore your system to normal. Now let's proceed with creating a free space for Void Linux. Now go ahead and open Windows Terminal or Command Prompt. Type diskmg-empty to access the disk manager, which displays all connected drives and their partitions. In my case, you can see that one drive is connected. The drive 0 has 3 partitions. The first one is the UEFI partition, where the Windows bootloader is present. The second one is the main Windows, and the last one is the recovery partition. I'm going to choose the C drive to shrink the free space for Void Linux. In your case, it might be D, E, or F, whatever. Just choose any partition and right-click on it. Choose Shrink Volume and allocate a minimum of 40 GB or more for Void Linux. You can type the value in megabytes. In my case, I'm going to allocate 190,000 megabytes. Then click on Shrink. This will create unallocated free space. And that's it, we have done creating a free space for Void Linux. Now with that said, it's time to get started with the Void Linux installation process. Now first, head over to the Void website and click on Download button. Then select the x86_64 and download the base image. Now make sure it's based on glibc. Then download Etcher to burn the ISO file to the USB drive. You can also use Rufus or Ventoy drive. Then connect your USB stick to your computer. Now open Etcher, import the Void Linux ISO file. Now select the USB device and click on Flash. Now this will take some time depending on the writing speed of your USB pen drive. Now once it's done, it's time to boot the system into BIOS. You can turn off the PC and boot into BIOS settings using the keyboard shortcut based on your motherboard. Now mostly it could be F2, F9 or the escape key. If you don't know how to boot into BIOS, I'm going to show you how to do it from Windows. Now click on the Windows Start menu, hold the Shift key and click on Restart. Then your computer will enter into Windows Options menu. Click on Troubleshooting, Advanced Options and select UEFI Firmware Settings. Then click on Restart to boot into BIOS. In my case, my computer has booted into the Startup menu and I'm going to press F10 to access the BIOS setup. In the UEFI BIOS, enable USB boot and change the boot order by setting the USB device as primary. Then disable secure boot. Once it's done, save the changes. Now your system will boot into VoidLinux from the USB drive. If it fails to boot, use the boot menu to load the Void install media. Now on your monitor, you will see a terminal expecting for input. Now please note that the mouse functionality is disabled, so you need to rely on the keyboard. Now go ahead and type the username and password to log in. You can use the username either anon or root, and the password is VoidLinux. Now make sure to type in lowercase, then type this command to increase the size of the console, then press enter to execute the command. Now let's start the VoidLinux installer, which is based on Encryption. To launch the text-based installer, type this command and press enter. Now use the arrow keys to navigate through the options and the enter key to make selections. Now press enter, select your keyboard layout. I'm going to choose US. Next, select network. If your computer is connected via Ethernet cable, choose the first option. To connect to Wi-Fi, select the second option and press enter. Now enter the SSID, encryption type and password. Then press enter to connect to the Wi-Fi network. Then choose mirror closest to your location. I recommend selecting a Tier 1 mirror for faster package downloads. Now set the hostname to whatever you fancy. Then choose your locale. In my case, I will select English UTF. Then set a password for the root user. Then create a standard user account. Choose any group memberships if needed. Next, select the bootloader. You need to choose the disk where you want to install the GRUB bootloader. Now choose the disk where Windows 11 is installed. In my case, it's NVMe 0N1. Then select partition disk and choose the Windows drive. You can use either CFDisk or FDisk to create a partitions, but for now, choose CFDisk, which is easier to use. We are going to create 3 partitions for VoidLinux: EFI, root, and swap. Now let's create the first partition. Select the free space. Do not touch the Windows partitions at any cost. Then create EFI partition with 512 megabytes and press the enter key to confirm. Now select the partition type as EFI System. Next, select the free space again and create a root partition with at least 30 GB or higher. Then press enter to create it. The type will automatically be set to Linux file system. And lastly, use the remaining free space for the swap partition, which can be used as virtual RAM. Now set the partition type to Linux swap. That's it, we are done creating the 3 partitions for VoidLinux. But just remember these partition identifiers, then write the changes to the disk. Once it's done, exit CFDisk. Now select File Systems, choose the UEFI partition we created and set its file system to vfat. The mount point for UEFI should be /boot/UEFI. Then select the root partition and choose a file system. I will use btrfs with the mount point set to /. And finally, select the swap partition and set the type as Linux swap. Now click Done to proceed. Now select Install and press Enter. You will see the summary of all the partitions. Select Yes and press Enter to start installing the Void Linux base system. Now once the installation is complete, choose the services you want to enable, then reboot the system. When the screen goes black, remove the USB drive. Your system will boot into Void Linux. Now go ahead and enter your username and password to log in, and type this command to increase the console font size. Now let's update the Void Linux. To do so, first make sure that your Wi-Fi is working properly by running this command. Once you have confirmed that your internet connection is stable, type this command to update Void Linux. The package manager used by Void Linux is called XPPS. Since we are about to install KDE Plasma Desktop, it's advisable to replace DHCPCD and WPA supplicant with Network Manager to prevent any conflicts. Now go ahead and run this command to install Network Manager. Now Void Linux uses the RUnit Supervision Suite to manage system services and daemons. Go ahead and type this command to list all currently running services. Now proceed to stop the services such as DHCPCD and WPA supplicant by executing these commands. Now once it's done, you will observe that the Wi-Fi connection is not working. Then execute these commands to remove these services. Now at this point, type these commands to add dbus and network manager to the service list. And finally, execute these commands to enable and start the network manager. Now once the network manager service is running, you can use the nmcli command to connect to Wi-Fi. Just replace the Wi-Fi name with your actual network name and enter the password in double quotes. Now press enter to complete the connection. Now verify the connection by executing the ping command. Now it's time to install the GUI. Now for this video, we are going to install the Plasma desktop. To do so, type this command to install KDE Plasma, KDE Applications, Pulse Audio, Xorg, SDDM, and some fonts, and most essential packages and applications. then press enter. This process will take some time, so sit back, relax, and grab a drink. Once the installation is complete, we need to enable services like Power Profiles, Bluetooth, and STDM to start the Plasma desktop. Now type these commands exactly as shown one by one. Then type this command to restart the computer. Now after that, you should see the STDM Login Manager. Now from the login screen, you can choose either Valent or Xorg. Then click on your username and enter the password to log in. The first thing to do after installing Void Linux is to install Discover App Store. Then type this command to install Flatpak and add the FlatHub repository to use it as a backend for Discover. Then inside the terminal, type this command to install OS Prober. It's time to add the Windows boot entry to the GRUB menu. To do so, go ahead and type this command to edit the GRUB configuration file and change the default GRUB timeout to 30 seconds. Then scroll to the bottom and add this line. Once it's done, save the changes by pressing Ctrl+O and exit with Ctrl+X. Now go ahead and run this command to update GRUB. And you can see it found the Windows Boot Manager. Then reboot your system. Now you can use the GRUB boot menu to boot into Void Linux or Windows 11. You can also notice that Discover App Store works fine with no issues. As a bonus part of the video, if in case you don't like Void Linux and decided to uninstall, then reboot your computer into Windows 11. Once you are inside Windows 11, open the search bar and type diskmg empty and open Disk Manager. In my case, next to the C drive, there are 3 new partitions are showing. We need to delete each partition one after the other. Now go ahead and right-click on the swap or root partitions and choose delete volume. Now as you can see, I have deleted the root and the swap partitions, and there is no option to delete the boot EFI partition. We're gonna take command prompt help to remove this partition. To do so, go ahead and open command prompt as administrator. Now inside this, type disk part, then type list disk. Now this will show all the drives connected to my PC. Now as you can see, drive 0 is the only drive connected to my computer where Windows 11 are present. I'm gonna go ahead and select this drive by typing this command. Now I'm gonna type list partition to view all partitions of this drive. If you notice carefully, partition 5 is the Void UEFI partition which we failed to delete from the disk manager, which is this one. Now as you can see, it's around 512 megabytes. We're gonna go ahead and delete this partition. To do so, type this command to select this partition. And make sure you have selected the proper partition. Then type this command to delete this partition. Now as you can see, under the disk manager, it's now deleted and we gain back the free space. You can use this free space and merge it back to the Windows 11 partition. And that's it, we have successfully removed Void Linux. Now restart your computer. It should boot your system into Windows 11 directly and you won't face any issues. This is how you properly set up a dual boot on your Windows 11 computer with Void Linux. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. This has been KSK Royal. I will see you in the next one.